Yo, welcome everybody to TCR, Trinity Competitive Racing, and welcome to another episode of The Racing Debrief, TCR's podcast where we combine the world of e-racing, sim racing, and TCR with real-life motorsports and Formula One. A true racing enthusiast listen. I'm your host, Freeze, and joining me once again, my co-host, Camden Luga. And we got a special one today. We have the Season 20 preview for the TCR F1 Series. And it's a pretty big number, 20. You know, that's a nice round number, you know. And on a nice new game, which has some promising future ahead. And we have a full grid. We have commentary. And it all kicks off tomorrow, or as this gets uploaded, tonight. 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesdays, and Camden's got the call. So why don't we bring him in here? Camden, how are we?
Well, Seafreeze, I'm feeling old, to be honest with you, because it is Season 20, so you know what that means?
I've been doing it a long time. That's what that means as well.
That's what that means, but TCR is almost old enough to drink.
That is true. I mean...
We're watching TCR grow up right before our eyes. So, yeah, how about that? We made it to Season 20. That's quite the accomplishment, actually.
Yeah, and knowing most 20-year-olds, they probably snuck a drink in before the 21st. So, TCR probably has as well in some fair or another.
Yep.
I mean, you could cue us in here. I mean, you kind of had a lot to say with the commentary from last season and being kind of more into it. Me kind of being more on the sidelines, but now with the the podcast and some commentary, but now kind of more of a driver role. I don't want to tip my cap in this, so we're gonna try and be fair. So we'll let the co hit it.
Yeah, sure. So I think what we're gonna talk about is obviously Season 20, but there is a number that comes before 20, and that's 19. And I think we should at least just recap a little bit of Season 19 to kind of get us ready for Season 20, because we got some heavy hitters coming back for Season 20. And the reigning champion, Mr. 7-time B-Tom, he will be back, along with his championship rival from last season, JMB, will also be back. But there is a little bit of an outlier there. J&B will be out for the first couple of races, so that could be maybe a little bit of an implication in the championship. But they weren't the only two drivers to win races in Season 19. The reigning Constructors Champion alongside B-Tom is coming back, and he and B-Tom, they're going over to the Ferrari. And what's funny about that is, if you watched our preseason events these last couple of weeks, you would notice that B-Tom is representing the yellow Lewis Hamilton helmet, kind of a nod to Lewis Hamilton, also going to Ferrari, who is also a 7-time champion. So, maybe a little something to look forward there. But yeah, it's going to be a good season. I think we'll go over some predictions, maybe the schedule, but if you're someone who's followed TCR, a lot of the stuff from Season 19, drivers, tracks, you're getting a lot of that in Season 20.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to try and actually bring up the schedule, which we can maybe talk about briefly. So we just went through, as we go over the schedule here, we just was in preseason testing and preseason race. Real F1 starts Belgium this weekend, but we actually start their round 1, which will be today as you're listening to it on Tuesday. And then we go to Bahrain the following week. Round 3 will be a mystery race, which we saw the introduction to on last game, and that's going to be a fixed setup race as well, I do believe. Then we go to round 4 to Japan, which will kind of cap off that first third of a season. Then we'll have an off week. We'll go to round 5, which is Australia. Round 6 is the Britain sprint race, which happens to be a reverse layout. So one of the reverse races made the schedule, and it's going to be a sprint at Britain. Then we're going to go to Monza the following week, and then Miami, which will cap off that next 4 rounds. We'll have an off week, and then we'll come back for the TCR Grand Prix, this time at Austria, making a return there. And we'll also have the Hall of Fame inductions, which the vote is out. So if you're eligible to vote, please vote. You probably should be in the Discord to take the vote. That's where the announcements went out. Round 10 is Brazil sprint. Round 11 is Canada 3-tire special. And then we finish off in round 12, USA Coda finale. And then we'll have some ending ceremonies, podcasts with the champion. The new Hall of Fame will be released, and then we'll have the All-Star race. We'll all be done by around November 4th. The finale finishes on October 21st. If you want to join us, we do have the live streams on YouTube and Twitch, and then we always have the sign-ups open. So, right now we have a full grid, which we'll probably go over next, but reserves, waiting list, it's still good to get on the grid as long as, the seats are open.
Yeah. Well, I do got to say, whoever comes up with the schedule always nails it every season. Whoever they are, they need to get a raise. They need to get, maybe some like a gift bag or something, because the schedule, it's always looking pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that
I'll
stand
send
out
you
to
the
me.
address. Everyone can send everything.
The Britain sprint race, that is definitely a marquee event this season, round 6. I think that's going to be something that the drivers are going to like. It's going to be something I'm going to like to watch for sure from the commentary booth.
Yeah.
And it's kind of right in the middle of the season, It's a good way to kind of get to the end of the first half of the season and then start the second half. And I really think that the second half of the season is probably the better half when it comes to just things to look for. Like you said, the TCR Grand Prix is back in Austria, round 9. And there's a lot of stuff going on. The Hall of Fame inductions, the 3-tire special is coming back.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that is coming back, but it is season 20. So I think this is a good time to bring that stuff back.
Yeah, some things actually didn't make the schedule. The 100% race kind of got dropped off. The full qualifying or Monaco event, which usually was paired with it, kind of got knocked off. I think we took a sprint away, but generally, the others kind of stayed on. And for me, this is kind of like an interesting season just because of all the events. And I think nowadays you kind of have to put some emphasis on other tracks than others just to gauge the interest for the roster. But not only that, but I think it adds to TC's unique schedule. The TCR Grand Prix is our own event that we kind of created, which I think we're on the 13th iteration. If I'm reading that correctly, of the TCR Grand Prix, either 11, I think it might be the 12th.
I think it's the 12th.
And I've always loved that event in and of itself. It's kind of evolved over the years, and it's always kind of been on the schedule since we brought it to its start. But the other one is, the reverse track. Britain was always kind of a lock-in track for us, usually always around race number 5 or 6. And I felt like it always had to be on the schedule because it's basically, in my opinion, the hub of Formula One in Britain and really of the world. I think Formula One belongs at Silverstone and in Britain. It's a great track, great environment, great fans. Everything kind of started on that end, and it's a great track. Of course, it's a great track. It was kind of always on there, but now coming to season 20, and this is kind of the evolution of our grid. It is on the schedule, but it's a sprint reverse, which is kind of interesting for season 20. All those years later, always having Britain and then kind of changing it to something a little unique. And I think it just fits kind of the schedule. So, I'm looking forward to racing it this season, actually. So it's going to be a fun 12 races.
Yeah, I liked your point about how we should definitely keep some tracks as a mandatory option for every season. And I actually did go and look back at season 19. We are using 7 tracks from the season 19 schedule for the season 20 schedule, which is okay. You know, that's more than half the schedule from last season that's getting returned in season 20. But you said it. There's certain tracks like Britain that we mentioned, Brazil. I think Brazil is probably one of those tracks that have we ever not raced at Brazil? I think that's the question.
It's been off the schedule a few times, but the other thing you have to mention too is on this new game they added not laser scanning but LiDAR. And that's, I guess, their own iteration of kind of a laser scan. And a lot of I think we're only missing Imola from the ones that were LiDAR scanned. But I believe Bahrain, Japan, Australia, and Miami were the LiDAR track. And there was 5, and I think Imola was the last one. If I'm not, I might be messing that up, but I think that's correct. And
you might be right about that.
That's kind of why we put them all on there, in my opinion, because they're updated tracks. I mean, and just racing those, it's almost night and day from what we were racing in the past. Like, I think they did a great job with the LiDAR tracks. And if you look, a lot of those are just normal races. You know, Bahrain's a normal one, Japan, Australia, and Miami, just regular league Grand Prix, nothing fancy, because the track on LiDAR was like perfect. So it's like, why do we have to make this special? We don't really need to. We're just driving it, and some of them might have been on last season, but I think it's just kind of like, what's the need of like demand and supply, kind of like what the league kind of wants, but also like, you know, have we gone there in the past, or how recent, you know, how was the racing there, you know, does it need to be on the schedule? Can it have a break and come back? And it's kind of just like a circus. I mean, some events are on, some events are off. I mean, people are going to be happy, people are going to be sad.
Restaurant analogy for a lot of things, but I think it definitely comes to play with the schedule because, you know, McDonald's, for example, if you go to McDonald's and they don't have a Big Mac on the menu, it's like, well, what am I going there for? You know, there's no Big Mac. It's like with TCR. If Britain's not on the schedule, then why am I signing up? You know, there's certain tracks that are kind of a staple in the league, and I think we definitely need to kind of reserve certain tracks every year.
Absolutely. Well, let's see if we go over this roster real quick. We got a full, I believe, full 20, or is it still pending?
So we had 20. Today that changed, but we may be getting back to 20. So right. I'm going to say we're at a full roster.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if we'll get 20 for today's race, but we'll have a good grid.
Yeah. You want to go over who decided to be with who and what outfit everybody's going to be in this year?
Yeah, well, we do have some different outfits. There's some people that got tired of the outfit they wore for however many months we raced in season 19, and they're deciding to put on different colors. And like I said at the top of the show, I think you got to look at the guys in red. B-Tom and Lion will be representing the Ferrari, the reigning Constructors champions. And, you know, I don't know whose decision that was. You know, I know they agreed on a car, but I think B-Tom definitely had a say in that with the Lewis Hamilton helmet. You know, both
really?
of them are now.
I think the opposite, actually. GT's a die-hard Ferrari fan and always kind of picks Ferraris. And B-Tom's, I don't know if B-Tom's ever been in the Ferrari before.
I don't think so either, and I actually mentioned that in one of the preseason broadcasts. I'm like, is Ferrari one of the few teams he hasn't done yet?
Yeah, I mean, I know he's done more McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull, and Williams, I think, are kind of his that he's been in, but Ferrari kind of wasn't. So, I mean, it could have been because Lewis kind of went over to Ferrari, which I think probably swayed his decision, but then GT's also, I mean, he likes being Ferrari too, so.
Yeah, they both do, yeah.
I think it's a good fit for him.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's a great fit for both of them. The other matchup, and I did mention that he's missing the first couple of races, but there's very few drivers that don't have DNFs throughout the season, so I don't think this will be a huge deal necessarily. But JMB and Capitan are going over to the car that B Tom and Lyon had last season in the McLaren, and from what I saw in the preseason event that they were at, JMB, obviously, he's strong. He was up there fighting for the championship last season. But the thing with Capitan is that Capitan joined about halfway through last season, and he ended up finishing 7th in points. And from what I saw in preseason, it looks like he might be a little bit quicker than what he was on 124. So those guys are going to be quick. They're going to be right up there. And they're, like I said, they're in different colors, different outfits. One more I got to mention, and I got to mention this partially because this is my brother, but Colby Luca, that's his username now, by the way, and D-Swish in the Williams. I really like what I see there in that lineup, and especially from Colby. His pace on this game is really good, and I think if he's got the consistency and is able to show up every week, look out.
Yeah, I like those. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, I like those three teams as well. There's another one there's a few that I'll kind of mention. I like the team of Mercedes. Some guy, honestly, I mean, based off the test and the race that we had, was quite quick. I mean, he looked pretty good out there, and he has history with us as being quite good in silver. Right, was more of when he was racing.
I would say so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and then maybe golden a little bit. I mean, I'd have to look back, but then you're also getting a champion of Chargers who is making a return, which he's your season 8 silver champion. Chargers, I was out on testing, and I saw him. I'm like, wait, he's racing? Yeah, former teammate of mine when we were back at, I believe it was Ferrari, if I'm not mistaken. So it was cool to have him back on the grid, as well as a couple Freeze Foundation drivers of FND Cakes and F1 Nerd.
Sure.
A Season 17 Challenger champion. So they're going to be at the RB team. So that's kind of cool to have them back.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that's a good pair as well. And then on the sister team of Red Bull will be Bats Plus, who is making a full-time return because I think last year he was more reserve.
I don't think he ran last season, actually.
Or, yeah, maybe that was the season before that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think he did anything last season.
Yeah, he did not run a single race last season,
yeah.
which, like you, I'm kind of surprised by that.
Yeah. But let me tell you what about Bats. He is a very calculated driver. The way he kind of prepares himself for the week, he puts his work in for practice, and I mean he's going to be right up there, throughout getting podiums and hopefully some wins. So that's kind of why he's a good teammate of mine, because I don't know. I think when returning back, it was kind of a late kind of decision for me, but I think the few things that are important are, number one, having a solid teammate that is going to be able to practice with you, discuss, set up certain things with, to maybe be in a race party and be quick, and who's going to show up throughout the season. So Bats checks all the boxes for me. And then the other thing would be the car that I'm driving. So being able to return to Red Bull, which I haven't raced back since season 4, I want to say.
Wow. How long ago is that?
Season 4.
What is that, 8 years ago?
That's 2017.
Holy cow, Seafreeze. That's insane.
So I haven't raced since 2017, and that was my constructor car, but also my second championship. So way back when, yes, I know. But it's good to be in a nice Red Bull. And you know what? Honestly, out of all, because I run cockpit, so running it in other cars were kind of a little unrealistic just because of the visual. But you're seeing kind of Max. Now, I'm not a huge Max fan, so I don't really pick the team or the car based off of how that person's doing. I just pick it off of, does it fit, my driving because of the cockpit, the view, as well as picking a team that hopefully I can be with or make sense in my league career. I don't like jumping every season, this car, this car, this car. I kind of like sticking with the team and kind of like almost something more kind of like real life is more realistic to go to a team and try and be there for a few seasons to see if something will work before switching. Yeah, I'm excited. And one of the other teams that is kind of going to be changing is Sauber, which is the last game we'll have Sauber, which we have Meow Slayer and a new driver of Kimi Antonelli, which...
Not the real one.
Yeah.
Not the real one. Let's make that clear.
Which I love Kimi Antonelli in real life. I think he's going to be great. That guy knows his lap times and his numbers really well. It's kind of scary. Honestly, I don't like when drivers pick a username based off of a Formula One driver. I don't know.
Yeah, well, he goes by Wales.
Oh, okay. That's his
PlayStation or PC username.
Gotcha. That's his
what
Discord.
You'll probably see on the broadcast tonight is
Wales. Okay, no, that makes sense.
Formula One driver.
Right. Yeah, Wales, and then Mouse Slayer. Who? All right, good.
Yeah, and then one more. Well, actually, I think the only two we haven't. The two teams with multiple drivers that we haven't brought up are Alpine and Aston Martin. You got HVAC Toaster returning as well. See, this is like a family reunion this season.
That I was surprised about. To see his name come back, I mean, honestly, I don't know if many people really realize about Toaster, but I kind of overlooked him when I was picking the other teams to look at. I just realized there's an HVAC Toaster on the grid. I mean, he is pretty quick. No, he's pretty quick.
He's a former winner in PC.
Yeah, and I think the last time he was with us racing full-time seasons ago, I'd have to look back, but he was a contender for sure. He was a little inconsistent, right? So I think maybe looking back at it, I'm interested to see what he can do full-time. Because if he is quick, like I've seen the speed already, so I know the speed is there. I just want to see what the consistency is like, and if he's going to show every week, because he could be an absolute contender, which he's already race proven. And back then, he was on a really competitive grid. So
yeah,
and I'm not dissing this one, but I mean back then, what we had 3 classes at that point, so. It was a definitely heavy hitter roster. So Toaster is going to hopefully be impressive.
Yeah. And then the new driver of Mac T will be alongside him. And I don't think I saw him in preseason. I think he had maybe something going on, but he is checked in for tomorrow. So we'll maybe get a taste of what he's got. And then Aston Martin. Mahmoud and TJ, and I think that this is the only team from last season that is staying completely intact for this season. So a little kudos to those guys for sticking together and sticking with the Aston Martin. And I do just want to mention that Mahmoud qualified second in Saudi Arabia for the preseason race last week. So he might have something up his sleeve that he didn't have last season. He might be quicker than what he was on before, which doesn't surprise me because Mahmoud, I see him online a lot on the game, so I think he's definitely put in some practice.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty solid on last one. I think he probably learned a lot. I don't know how long he's been on the games, and I actually haven't really spoken to him personally, which I wouldn't mind if we did.
Let's get him on the podcast.
Let's get him on the podcast.
I'm sure he would want to.
Hey. Let's get him on the podcast,
Yeah, right? Hey. Mahmoud, if you're listening to this, feel free to reach out.
Although, isn't he in Bahrain? Isn't he a Bahraini?
Bahrainian?
Bahrainian? I mean...
He is, actually, yeah. So the fact that he races with us is pretty impressive.
And that's the other thing I want to say. Everyone is American on our grid, other than HVAC Toaster represents Canada, as well as F1 Nerd. And Mahmood is from Bahrain. Everyone else carrying the U.S. flag.
Yeah, real quick. So don't want to forget this. This is not complete, but Triple M, aka Speedin, the lone guy in the Haas right now. I think that'll change. I think we may get another driver in the Haas pretty soon, but Speedin's got pace. He'll be up there. It's just a matter of I think we'll see him every week, but you never know.
Yep. It's cool to see TJ. My question about that was, I see he was on Aston Martin from last season, but he didn't have any points, but I don't think he really showed many races, did he?
No, he started off as a full-time driver. He basically wasn't in the second half of the year, but because of attendance, we kind of just kept him on there.
Gotcha. Okay. No, well, that's
I don't
fine.
think that would be an issue this season.
No. I just was curious because you said he returned. I'm like, well, I don't know if he really raced last season. So I'm thinking he's like returning as
return
like
from what?
right. I don't know, like return. What do you mean return? Like yes.
Okay, I gotta interrupt you because we kind of have a news alert, a live news alert. The second Haas seat has now been filled. In live time, you are getting. I'm gonna call him Gio. I don't know how to pronounce the username. I don't want to butcher it. But Gio, we saw him in the live stream chat of the preseason race in Saudi Arabia. I think he's going to show up and be committed, and, well, he just committed to the Haas. So, look at that, Seafreeze. We got ourselves a full roster to start off Season 20.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Actually, I do want to say huge thanks to all the officials or moderators and anyone else getting kind of this season underway. This is probably the most active I've been in TCR in a number of years, actually. So, it's been nice to kind of put some more effort in behind the scenes, which I don't know if many have been able to see, but I'm working a lot behind the scenes for TCR. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this season. So, it's kind of rejuvenated the league a little bit. And the game, I will say, is difficult, and I think you'll see those who are more talented or skilled or experienced will have the upper edge over maybe the less experienced or less skilled drivers. I think you're going to see a little bit more of that than maybe last game. And that's kind of the reason I wasn't a huge fan of the games, because of the slipstream, the DRS effect. But now it seems like it's kind of changed a little bit. So we'll see how it goes. But I think it is honestly quite nice. So that's good.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think that you're going to get a lot more of a spread out grid compared to the last game, which really isn't the worst thing in the world, because I'm sure this debate has gone around countless times, not just with F1 or TCR, but just in general. But typically a lot of the time, if the racing is too close, then the overall racing product probably isn't that good, because then there's probably a lot of stuff that's I'm just going to bring up NASCAR, for example. Took away horsepower, they took away a lot of things to make the racing closer, but it takes some of the ability away from the driver. And I think with F125, you're going to see more of the drivers get everything out of their cars. So it's going to be fun to watch. But I think this is a good segue into hot takes or predictions. And I don't know what you've got cooking up, Seafreeze, but maybe we can give 2 predictions each for what to expect for Season 20.
What to expect in Season
or just
20?
in general. Yeah, in general, Season 20 predictions. So, I do have one cooking up right now.
All right, go for it, because I'm still cooking.
I'm gonna get this out of the way because I'm kind of recycling it from Season 19, because this prediction I completely botched in Season 19 because I thought it would be a lot more competitive in Season 19. I said, and I think you actually said something similar, that we would have 6 winners, at least 6 winners in season 19. We only got half of that. So, there's a handful of drivers this season that can go up there and compete for podiums every week. And we saw in certain races like Saudi Arabia that it's not over until you get to the checkered flag. So I'm going to say that we will have, in a 12 race schedule, we're going to get 5 different winners. We'll see if that happens. I'm sure we'll maybe, now that I said that, who knows? Maybe we'll have one winner the whole season, but that's my first one.
I think last season I also said we were going to have a lot of winners, and I couldn't have been more wrong as well. I don't know. I think we'll have quite less than that. I think a lot of people are capable of winning, but I think due to how the nature of the game is, I think it's going to be very hard for pace. Like, I think people who are really good are going to win. I mean, just let's see who's in that group. I'm thinking we're more going to get I think 4 is probably what it's going to be, but I wouldn't be shocked if you only get 3 with different winners. I mean, it's kind of how it was back in kind of the earlier parts of TCR anyways. I mean, a lot of seasons only really had 3 main winners. I mean, the seasons were kind of around 12 races too, so we'll see if it stays true or not.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll probably be right. We'll probably have 2 or 3 winners, but I mean, you never know. I think the difference between this season and last season is there's certain drivers that we saw last season that are returning this season, and their pace has gotten a lot better. So that's kind of what I'm going off of. But what's your first prediction that you have? Or do you have any?
Really don't. I mean, I don't really have many predictions. I mean, for the season, I think going in as kind of like being a part of it now, it's kind of a different point of view. I don't really. I'm kind of going into the season with no expectations, because when I start to predict things, that's when things start to go wrong.
Same.
I think the reverse track is going to be something from that is going to happen. I feel like something controversial almost will happen from it, whether that be a crash, whether that be a rule that gets kind of loopholed, right? Because it's the first of a reverse track, right? But I'm going to probably circle that one. The other thing is I'm going to predict that B-Tom gets into the Hall of Fame in the class of season 20. I think that's a pretty safe bet.
That's like a gimme. You never know, though.
Although I will say, I think we're going to have a new TCR Grand Prix winner.
Ooh, okay.
B-Tom, I believe, is the only TCR Grand Prix winner on the grid. And we have a few people who were quite close in getting one. Yes, you can think of TJ, but there's others as well. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll go with that.
Okay. And, well, now that you got me thinking, because I had something else looking up, but after you said what you said, I kind of turned the boilers down a little bit, and I might be boiling something else up here.
Get the potatoes.
Fruit salad?
Yummy.
Yep. I think you're going to have a massive crash. And when I say massive crash, I'm going to say one of the following. We're either going to have 4 or more people get in this wreck, right? And probably at least 2 or 3 of them are going to retire. Or we're going to have a flip.
Honestly, that is a great prediction, because it's probably going to happen. If you look back on my Red Bull days, I had some pretty crazy... Like, I basically took out the whole grid at Japan at the start of the Japan race.
I think we're overdue, I'm telling you. There's been some big crashes when I've been on the call, like when D'Angelo almost flipped at Spain at one time, but it's been a hot minute, so I think we're overdue for like a really, really big crash. So that's my second prediction.
And honestly, based off how I raced in the preseason race, which was a huge hit, by the way, huge hit. Yeah, probably not wrong. Although I haven't, I don't know when the last time I DNF'd in an actual race, though. I'd have to look back.
Don't say that. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, you also were probably one of the few people that ran cockpit cam at Saudi Arabia of all tracks. So that was a hard task to begin with.
Yeah. Although I was adjusting buttons, so I was definitely distracted in the first few laps.
Right.
But I don't know. I should have probably finished all the laps because I lost out on practice.
You were out by what, lap 4?
Three or four.
I was just getting warmed up. I'm like, all right,
yeah.
here
No,
we go.
me too.
Green
I was
flag.
I was like, why did they pick Saudi Arabia as the track?
I have no idea. I have no idea. You know, it's a fun track, but
no,
we
it
just
is.
raced last season.
And for a preseason race, I don't know. I felt like we could have did, but everyone else finished the race, I believe. So I'm the only one. I'm not complaining, by the way. I just was distracted.
Right. Yeah. Happens to all of us.
I will say, let me just shout out a few others just so we're mentioning everybody. Everyone get their love. Let's see. I will say GT looks really quick too. And going back on B-Tom, just to touch on my prediction for the championship and the constructors, I want to put those out there. Now, this one's touch and go because B-Tom is signed up full-time, although he did mention that he might not be able to make it with some of his scheduling. So, you know, I don't know. In the past, he's always showed up and made it happen. So, assuming he's able to show up to most of the races, I think he's probably still the guy to get it. Now, if that changes, then the championship kind of changes. Although I will say GT looks really quick. And just kind of talking with him, I feel like this game kind of rejuvenated him as well. And I feel like he's playing it more, or maybe not yet, but will once the season kind of starts. And we're really into it. But I would say it could be a really nice, season for the Ferrari team. But, I mean, I think that'll kind of have to depend on everyone else's part. Like, B-Tom and GT are the most proven drivers based off recent history. Everyone else has something to prove. So, I don't know. I like being the team that is already proven. And they're just kind of having fun. And that just seems like B-Tom and GT. It looks like they're having fun. Everyone else has something to prove. Oh, well, Toaster's really quick, but he's inconsistent. Well, let's see how he is now. He's coming back. Well, TJ didn't race all of last season, but, he's a previous champion and a nice race winner, kind of, if this happens, and then, like, in my instance as well, I haven't really done it in quite a few seasons, so let's see where my mark is. And same with Bats, too. Didn't race last season. So, I mean, there's a lot of ifs, like J&B and, honestly, I think Colby and J&B, and maybe some guy you could even throw, are probably closer to the top. And if, let's say, B-Tom can't snag it, I think, depending on how these guys come out of the gate, could kind of have a shot at it. But I'm going to go with B-Tom for the championship as long as he can attend, because I'm going to go with the proven winner. For constructors, I really think me and Bats have a good shot. I mean, I do prioritize constructors. I like the teammate game. So that's kind of what I'm rooting for this season. We'll see if I have anything for the top. I have no idea how I compare. I've been out of it a little bit. So no expectations, although I'd love to get a constructor win. But we'll just have to see where I'm at, how close I am with, and how close Bats are to get the points. So apart from that, if we don't win it, I think they win it. So I'm going to put that on us. I think maybe we'll win the constructors, but it's not going to be easy.
Bet on yourself, especially this season. And that's why I really am doubling down on my first prediction. Last season, I kind of threw it out there of, oh, we're going to get a lot of winners. But no, this season, there's a lot more competition, I think, than last season. I think a lot of people, as you said, are rejuvenated.
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw this out there. And honestly, I don't know if I've ever done this before in drivers' champion predictions, because really, as long as I've been here, there's kind of been one favorite. But I'm just going to say this, and I'm not going off of driver ability necessarily. I'm kind of going on superstition and also scheduling, because B-Tom, we don't. I know he said he might have some stuff going on, so maybe something comes up and he won't be able to race most of the season, in the back half of the season or whatever. But here's where my superstition comes into play, okay? Lewis Hamilton stopped at 7 championships. Schumacher stopped at 7 championships. Dale Earnhardt, Richard Petty, Jimmy Johnson, all on the NASCAR side, stopped at 7 championships. So I'm not saying it's forever, but I think season 20 will be the season where we get a different champion. I'm not going to say who because I don't want to jinx it, but I think this is the season where I've got someone in mind, but I just don't want to jinx it. So that's my driver's prediction.
You have someone in mind, but you don't want to jinx it. But then you're not putting you're just
I'm not putting it out there.
So that means you don't believe in it.
No, I don't.
I honestly think I wouldn't be surprised if we have a race winner or a possible champion that's not even on the grid yet. And I say this every season because, it's so easy. I know we'll have 20, as you say. But who's to say, someone doesn't show, by race 3, someone joins. And if you're really quick and you join the grid, you can grab wins right away. Definitely could. If someone is a heavy hitter from another league or watches us, sees, a race or so and they sign up, maybe they get in by race 3. They can go on a tear. And at that point, your middle season, all these other events are up. Some extra points on the board for the GP and possibly other races, with the sprint. They can go, you never know. But kind of unlikely, right? But it's happened. We've seen it in the past. Kind of with like Lawrence, right? He in the past, or the Confessor, they kind of joined in kind of sporadically, or and then either racing full time or whatever season they joined in, they just started getting races or contending, and that kind of changed the picture a little bit. So we'll see.
Yep, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. Hopefully. Yeah, I like it when people prove me wrong. And I've picked B-Tom for however many seasons now, so we're going to switch it up. I think this will be the season that we get a new champion.
Yeah, honestly, GT, now, I think GT could win it, to be honest. I think he could.
I don't disagree.
I think he can go out there and, he's consistent enough. He doesn't crash out enough. He shows up every week. He practices. What more do you want, right? He's pretty quick, and I love what he's done in the last few seasons because he's always been a great teammate, always consistent, always this, but the speed wasn't always there in his, I guess, earlier seasons, right? But I think for him going down to Golden, getting that championship there, and then moving up, teaming with Remsley, who isn't on the grid for, I think, scheduling probably. He teams up with Remsley, gets constructors, practices, learns all of it, right? And then what does he do? All right, well, Remsley's not on the grid. Well, who's the next best thing?
Right.
Oh, B-Tom. That looks pretty good. And then, how much stuff he's learning? He knows already so much, but adding that with someone else, then you're just going to compound all the learning. The speed is going to come. And I think it just pushes you forward a little bit. So I don't know if that really, he'll have to say if it helped or not, but I love that. I mean, I love being with a teammate who you can practice with or it makes you better. And I think that's GT's last two teammates have really helped. And I think he's got a shot at it. And he loves Ferrari. So, hey, we'll see.
Yeah. And then, I'll put a constructors out there since I sort of made my driver's predictions, sort of didn't do it.
No, you didn't. You didn't pick a champion. Because you said you're not picking B-Tom, but you're not saying who. And so you're not participating in the game. That's fine.
Well,
you don't have to play, but I'm going to call you out on it. So, you don't have to play, but I'm going to call you out.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right.
We'll go McLaren for constructors.
Really?
Yep, why not?
Honestly, I mean, like I said, I don't really see it happening, but
yeah, that's fine.
It could. I mean, they've won it in the past, and the other series, they were constructor champions.
I like what I see there. Ferrari's great. Don't get me wrong, but maybe it's time for things to change. You never know.
What
we'll find out tonight at 8:45 Eastern. First race of the season at Belgium, and that's where we will start to find out who will be right between me and Seafreeze.
Yeah. Any final thoughts before we start? I mean, how are you feeling? You're going to be making the call as the main commentator for season 20. Yeah. How are you feeling? Excited more than last season?
I would say so. I don't know. I think it's the same as last season. Probably a little more content just because last season was kind of my return being the voice of TCR. And last season I was trying all sorts of new stuff with the sound effects and then also just my personal style of... There were things that I went back and looked on from previous seasons that I was commentating. And I don't know how you feel about your commentary, but I look back at old commentary of myself and I kind of cringe a little bit, to be honest with you. And I'm really proud of how I was in season 19 in the booth, and it's a lot of fun, honestly. I'm really glad that the opportunity opened up last season to get into the booth because we needed someone, and I was kind of plateauing in the midfield as a driver, so I think the timing made sense. And yeah, I like it. I think it's going to be fun. I think we're going to get a lot of viewers this season, and there's going to be a lot of stuff to look for. And as a commentator, that's kind of all that you asked for, really.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. It's going to be you up in the booth. If there's a consistent co-commentator, I'm sure we'll have all ears. Or if we bring back a guest, we definitely have the room to do that. So if everyone, anyone's thinking
of one we need to bring back.
Yeah.
At some point, we gotta. I said I've never done a broadcast with him before. It needs to happen.
Yeah. Well, I can think of a few people, but I know who you're talking about, and yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be really it for the preseason episode. Just trying to think if we're not forgetting anything, but I will say...
I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, just to the league and everyone, I just want to honestly say thank you for kind of sticking in there and staying with us over the last few seasons while we got provided pretty bad games and had to kind of close some series and classes and kind of reshuffle the board. But I think this season 20 is going to be a real stepping stone. And for me, it really got me back into it, so much so to get me back into the seat. So, which I never really thought was going to be happening. So it's kind of surreal. I have a race tomorrow, meaning tonight. But yeah, I mean, just the effort behind the scenes and being able to do this all these years after the fact, it's kind of fun and special. So thanks for everyone who is a part of it or was at one point. And I think that's going to do it for this episode. So just want to thank everyone for watching, and make sure to follow TCR on all socials at Trinity Racing, and to join the Discord server where we are the most active. You have almost everything TCR related in the Discord. So come on in and be a member. And we'll see you live tonight, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time on either Twitch or YouTube. And we'll see Camden Luca with the call. So until then, have a good day, everybody.